made mine not too free, but it's free as well. Okay, and you can see how fitted this pant looks on me. The crouch line at the back, at the front, everything looks so beautiful, as you can see. So this palazzo pant can be worn. I have a size zip anyway, and I have a fitted band. So the palazzo pant can be worn with any top of your choice. It can be a crop top, it can be a blouse like this, or anything for any occasion. So this is actually looking gorgeous and beautiful. I actually love the way it relaxed right on my body, as you can see. So if this is what you want to learn in this class, I will encourage you to stay till the end of this tutorial to learn the tips and tricks on how I made this pants. So this is actually a very detailed class as usual. So you'll be learning how to make this pants look fitted, beautiful, gorgeous, and nice. So I will advise you stay to the end of this tutorial to learn more. So the first thing we are going to do is to start drafting our pattern. So I'm going to make my borderline of 4 inches from the top. Then on the side, I'm going to make 3 inches borderline. So at the end of the day, you are going to see why we have to make border lines like this before we start up the drafting. 4 inches on top and 3 inches on the side. So now I'm going to rule this line all the way from the top to the bottom. Okay, so the upper part will serve as our waistline. And the side, we are going to take the 3 inches borderline all the way to the hem line. So after taking this line, the next thing we want to do is to start taking the vertical measurements. So my vertical measurement, I'm going to start from my crouch line. So my crouch line, I'm using my hip divided by 4 plus 2 inches for a palazzo pants. For a palazzo pants, you add 2 inches. So it will be free. So my hip is 48 divided by 4 gave me 12 plus 2 is 14 inches. So I'll be working with 14 inches as my crotch line. So I'm going to place my tape on the waistline above 1.5. I'm using 1.5 inch of my band. So I'm going to mark 14 inches above 1.5. Okay, so you place your tape on that waistline at 1.5 and mark 14 inches. Of course, you saw what I just did right here. And I'll come up by 2 inches from that crouch line. That will be the actual hip line. Okay, the position of our hip line. So after that is done, this is my hip line and this is my crouch line. So the next thing we are going to do now is to place our tape on the 1.5 inch band line and take the length of this palazzo pant. So my actual length of my pant is 43. But I am going to add 1 inch for the hemming allowance. I added 1 inch for the hemming allowance, making it 44 inches. So this is my full length right now. So I'll come over to the hip and mark my hip circumference divided by 4. So whatever your hip circumference is, mark it there. Add 1 inch. 1 inch is going to serve for ease because this is a palazzo pant. It's not fitted. Add 1 inch for ease. So I added 1 inch for ease, and then I'm going to place my tape and mark the same thing I got on the hip line. I will mark it on the waistline and on the crouch line. Then I'm going to make a straight line to close up the box. So here I've closed up the box. The next thing we are going to calculate now is the crouch extension. So for your crouch extension, you are going to use your hip circumference again, then divide it by 20 this time. So my hip circumference is 48 inches. I divided it by 20 and I got 2.4. So I'm going to mark from that point, from this point you see me mark now, I'm going to extend my crouch by 2.4. So we are creating the front pant pattern. Okay, this is a front trouser, palazzo trouser. So diagonally you place 1.5 inches. After marking the 2.4, we are going to connect the lines right now. So you can freehand this part, or you can use a curve ruler to mark that part. So make sure it touches the straight line and touch the 1.5 inch diagonal extension, and then touch the 2.4 crouch extension. So whatever your calculation is, just go ahead and twist your ruler to make sure it blends on those points. So here you can see I'm actually taking my time to be sure it blends on those points. I'm not in a hurry on this part, because this part will surely affect your trouser if you make it or mark it wrongly. So I tried blending that line, and this is what I got at the end of the day. So now we've gotten the crouch line. The next thing we want to do now is to measure the waist circumference, the waistline. So the waistline, you'll be using your waist circumference divided by 4. So mine is 9.5 inches. My waist is 38, divided by 4 is 9.5. So I marked on that 9.5 line. So I connected to the hip line just to get the waist to the hip line. So after marking that part, I'm going to place my tape and measure the crouch line to the extension and get the midpoint. So once I get the midpoint, it will serve as my grain line, my pants grain line. So I got 7 inches right there when I got the midpoint, and I'm marking it on the center line so as to get a straight line. So I placed my tape to get my knee line. Okay, so my knee line fell at 22 inches. So I'll just rule that 22 inches line, which is my knee line. Then I'm going to measure what I have at the midpoint of that crouch and mark it on the knee line. I'll also mark it on the full line, so I'll be able to create the crouch grain, the grain line, the palazzo grain line. So I'm using dotted lines for the grain line. So this grain line is going to serve if you want to make a pencil trouser or you want to make a free trouser. So but we are making a free trouser, we don't just want to go there, the pencil trouser. So I'm measuring what I got on the midpoint. It has to be equal on both sides. So I'm marking 7 inches again from the top of that other line to the bottom. So I'm going to connect from the crouch. I'll connect the lines from the crouch point now. So I'm going to connect it up to the knee line. Then I will use my straight ruler and then connect it up to the hem line. So you can see what we got right there. So this is a free trouser now. Okay, if you are making a pencil trouser, we could have measured our thigh measurement and all that, but since it's free, no need for any thigh measurement. So the front palazzo pant is ready. The front trouser is ready right now. So we want to move over to the back. So for the back, on this line, you are going to come in on the crouch line by 1 inch. Then on the waistline, you come in from that line by 2 inches. Then I'm going to connect the 2 points right now, and I'm going to extend it out by 1.5 inches. So I'll measure 1.5 inches. That is for the back pattern. The reason is because the back, because of the butt at the back, okay, we need to add an extension to make it relax very well. So I'm going to measure, you can see how I'm measuring diagonally my waist circumference divided by 4, which I got at 9.5. So wherever it falls, just create a mark at that point and mark the trouser waistline. So that is the waistline right there. So I'll leave it at that. So I'm just taking the measurement to be sure what I have at the front and at the back is the same. So this is the center back and this is the center front. So now we want to calculate the crouch extension for the back trouser. So you'll be using your hip divided by 10. So my hip divided by 10, I got 4.8. Okay, so I'll mark 4.8 from that point. So wherever it falls, I'm going to mark the 4.8. That becomes the back crouch extension. So you can see me ruling the line. So whatever you calculate with your hip, divide by 10. Just mark it there. Then place 1.5 inches diagonally to guide you on the connection. So I'm going to connect these points right now. So you don't need to get the ruler up to that 4.8 inches. Just go ahead and make sure it touches this line. Then you blend it up. So you can see how I did that. But the most important thing is the 1.5 inches extension. You have to make sure it passes on that line. So we are going to create the hip now. So now it means we are going to take a measurement from that center back front. So I'll place the center back line, sorry. I'll place my tape on the center back and measure my hip circumference divide by 4, which is 12 inches. I added 1 inch to it, which is 13. So it has to be the same for the front and for the back. The 1 inch is for ease. So now I'm retaking it to be sure I have 13 inches there. So I'm going to connect from the waistline to where I marked my hip line right now. So I'll connect it with my pattern ruler. So we are done with the upper part of the back trouser. So we'll start to add 1 inch on the crouch line, on the knee line, and on the hem line. 1 inches. So 1 inch. So you just connect it like that and make it touch the hip line. So after connecting this, you can see it touches the hip line accordingly. So the next thing we are going to do is to come over to the knee line at the front piece and add 1/2 inch. So on the front piece, you are going to add 1/2 inch. So I'll bring in my pattern ruler and place it from that crouch extension for the back to connect the 1/2 inch. And I'll do the same. Use my straight ruler and run the 1/2 inch from the knee line to the hem line. So here you can see what I got. So you can see it's a very bold trouser. So if you want to make this trouser look more freer, it means you are going to slash and spread on the grain line. So that means you are going to cut off the grain line and slash and spread. Okay, so that is the tip to making it look bogus. So I'm going to mark on this line, center back line. Please make sure you create this mark. You are going to see why we have to do this. So it's time for us to start cutting. So I'm going to cut. Remember we drafted both back and front. So I'm going to cut on the red line, which is the back trouser. So we are going to first cut out the back trouser on our pattern. Please make sure you save this particular piece. You can see me writing save on this particular piece. I'm going to keep it. It's going to come back again when we are going to cut the front trouser. So here I have already started cutting my back trouser. Okay, so you can see I cut on the red line and also on the red line on the front. Okay, so I have to cut the back trouser and the back trouser is ready. So we'll be using what we cut out from the back trouser right now to cut on the fabric. So this is the back. I'm cutting 2 times of it. So you can see my pleated fabric is a micro pleated fabric, as you can see, and I have 3 yards right here. I use 3 yards of this micro machine pleats to make this palazzo pants. So I'm going to first of all fold the width of my palazzo pant for the back piece. So I will keep adjusting my fabric until I get exactly the width with the seam allowance for the back. So after making the adjustments, I place my pattern on top of it and I'm going to add 1/2 inch seam allowance all around. So here you can see I'm done adding 1/2 inch seam allowance, but I decided to add extra 3 inches. I added extra 3 inches on the hem line because I'm going to wear a heel. So I'm supposed to add the heel allowance, which is 3 inches. Okay, so by the time I wear my heel, the down piece will actually cover the pants, the heel. So here you can see I've added, this is the 3 inches I was just explaining. I just added that 3 inches. Okay, just to make the pants flow very well. So in other words, the length of my pants after I'm done hemming it is 65 inches. So after cutting, I want to cut the front now. So when cutting the front piece, you have to bring back the pieces which you cut out. You can see the part I told you to save. We are going to sellotape it right now. Okay, so after cutting the back, you set the back aside and cut the front. So we have to join it back to get our front back the way we drafted it. So I will keep sellotaping this. As you can see, I'll keep sellotaping it until I've joined the parts I cut because of the back. So this is a very simple trick. It will make you not to waste your paper and you still have your pattern without struggling. So now I'm going to cut the front piece now. So I'm going to follow the blue lines. So wherever I see blue line, I'm going to cut on the blue line. So I'm going to cut out all those allowances we added. So I'll just go ahead and cut, as you can see, and that is that. So after that, we'll place this pattern on the remaining 3 yards of our fabric and then cut out 2 pieces as well. So here I'm done cutting. I added half an inch all around, as you can see, and on the down piece I added 3 inches just for my heel allowance. So this is it, and this is how to go about the cutting. So once you are done drafting and cutting, the trouser is almost ready because the sewing is not a problem. So you can see the 3 inches I told you I added. So this is it. The next thing we are going to do right now is to take off the pattern and join the pieces. So I'm going to sew the front piece first from the waist to the crotch. I'll secure it with my pin. I'll head over to the sewing machine to stitch. I'll also bring back the back, and I'm going to sew at half an inch as well. So this is the back. I'll put it together and I'm going to sew right side to right side at half an inch from the waist to the crotch line. So after I'm done joining this piece, the next thing we are going to do, it is ready right now. We are going to place the front and the back right side to right side and sew their sides. So this is it. I'm going to place it right side to right side. I'm going to close up the sides. But on one side, I'm going to leave a zipper allowance for it because our zipper is on the side. So I'll prefer you use an invisible zipper for this particular pant, so it looks very original, or it looks not seen. So I've already stitched this side with half an inch and I left this part. Okay, can you see I left it for my zipper? So I started stitching at 0.75 and now tapered it to half an inch. So it does not affect anything, just for the zipper. So now I'm going to join the crotch line. I'll open up the seams, as you can see. Open up the seams, secure with your pin, and stitch from the crotch down and from the crotch down. So here I'm done stitching. You can see what I got right here. Everything is looking beautiful and fine. So we are going to now attach our band before we attach the zipper. So here I hasted my band, and the band is my round waist plus 2 inches of zipper. So just use your round waist plus 2 inches of zipper, okay? Because this fabric stretches a lot. Don't measure on the waistline of the fabric. It might disappoint you, or it might be a little more longer. So I actually used my hip circumference plus 2 inch, my waist circumference, sorry, plus 2 inches for the zipper. So the width of my band is 4 inches, the width. Then unfold is 2 inches. So I'm going to place this, as you can see me place it, right side of the band to wrong side of the fabric. So I have to join this fabric because I don't actually have enough fabric that will match the band. But if you are making this, please place a notch at that point and ensure the side is on the notch. Then I'm going to go over to the machine to stitch round. So after stitching, this is what I got. Can you see? I have to fold in half an inch to make it easier for me to top stitch this band. So I'm going to place the half an inch which I folded, and I'm going to run my top stitch, as you can see, right there to the end. And at the end of the day, I'm going to give it a good press. So here I've pressed it down. This is what my band looks. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to sew the zipper on the side. I actually have a long zip for this, but then I'm going to cut it out. So if you are going to work on this, please get a matching zipper, okay, a trouser or skirt zip. So I'm going to sew my zipper right now. So after sewing the zipper, this is what we got. You can see the next is to weave the inside of your trouser, and we are done with this project. So I believe this class was helpful to you. So if this class was helpful to you, I will encourage you to subscribe to this channel and turn on your notification bell to receive more videos. Like this video, share to family and friends, drop your comment on the comment section if you really like what you watched, and don't forget to subscribe and follow Sim Bright Fashion Academy YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.